Night had fallen over the city of Dnipro as Serhiy Bogdanov, a renowned mathematician and university professor, worked tirelessly on his latest paper. Fatigue blurred his vision, but he couldn't stop. He was just one line away from completing a discovery that could change everything. For the past few months, he had been obsessively working on a problem long thought unsolvable. His formula, designed to explain the relationships between dimensions, turned out to be more than just a mathematical hypothesis. It was a powerful key to another world. But this world was not what Serhiy had expected. Once he completed the formula, something changed. The space around him grew dark, and the air filled with a heavy, foul stench. The sickly sweet smell of rot and blood. He tried to leave his office, but the door, which always opened easily, wouldn't budge. In the next moment, the walls dissolved into darkness, revealing a world unlike any he had ever seen. Before him lay a ruined city, eerily similar to his own Dnipro, but twisted, horrific. The streets were broken and empty. Buildings collapsed and lifeless. Crawling shadows moved slowly across the ground. Once human forms, now grotesque and distorted. Serhiy stood at the threshold of his office, staring at the terrifying unknown world. His heart pounded, but the scientist in him was stronger than fear. He took a hesitant step forward, and reality became more vivid. The air thickened, choking him with the scent of death. "This is impossible," he muttered to himself, scanning the surreal environment. Everything around him looked familiar. The buildings, the broken signs, the shattered windows. Yet everything felt wrong. There were no people, no sounds of life, only the shadows, and a darkness that pulsed, alive and hungry. He pulled out his phone to call emergency services, but there was no signal. The screen flashed briefly before dying completely. Serhiy put it back in his pocket, trying to calm his panic. This couldn't be a coincidence. His formula, had it really opened a portal to this world? Then, behind him, he heard a soft shuffle. Turning around, he saw a figure stumbling from the shadows. A person, or something that once was. It moved erratically, dragging one foot. As it approached, Serhiy could make out more details. "Hey, are you alive?" he called out. But the figure didn't respond. It only walked faster. Its face was torn, its flesh rotting, eyes hollow and dead. When it opened its mouth, a gurgling growl escaped, something between breath and scream. No, this can't be happening." Serhiy turned and ran, but the door he'd come through was gone, vanished into the darkness. The only path forward was deeper into the nightmare. Hiding behind a pile of debris, Serhiy tried to slow his breathing. He watched the creature until it vanished back into the darkness. He knew this was just the beginning. The formula. If only he could recall it, maybe he could reverse the process, but his notes were gone. No laptop, no backup, nothing. "I need to reconstruct it. That's my only chance," he whispered, wiping cold sweat from his brow. But then he noticed something. His skin burned on his right forearm. He rolled up his sleeve. There, where he had once written the first version of the formula in a burst of inspiration, a dark mark had appeared. It wasn't ink. It was something else, seared into his flesh, pulsating like it was alive. His own work was poisoning him, and the world he had entered wasn't just a place. It was feeding off him. Mustering his strength, Serhiy pressed forward. He couldn't stay put. The darkness here seemed to move, to breathe. If he stopped, he felt it would consume him entirely. Sometimes he heard faint whispers, voices that seemed to call his name from broken buildings or abandoned alleyways. The voices were familiar, hauntingly so. Colleagues, friends, loved ones, all gone. Eventually, he reached the ruins of an office tower. The building where his research lab had once been. The memory gave him hope. Maybe inside he could find equipment or notes to rebuild the formula. He entered carefully, flinching at every sound. The lab was a wreck. Shattered monitors, torn cables, broken glass. It looked like someone, or something, had destroyed everything on purpose. But then he saw it. An old computer under a pile of debris. It was dusty, cracked, but intact. He dragged it out and powered it on. Miraculously, the screen flickered to life. His fingers moved quickly, entering the password. It worked. His research files were still there. Hope surged through him, but just as he tried to open the files, the screen was flooded with warnings. Corruption, infection. Images started flashing across the monitor.